12 million transactions. And a large coalition of statewide and local government organizations have expressed support for OhioCheckbook.com and local government transparency, including the Ohio School Boards Association, the Ohio Municipal League, the Ohio Township Association, the Ohio Association of School Business Officials, the Buckeye Association of School Administrators, the County Commissioner Association of Ohio, the County Auditor Association of Ohio, the Ohio Newspaper Association, the Ohio Society of CPAs, and many, many others whom I don't want to read. And noting that cities and counties, as well as school districts in Ohio, have been joining this new transparency initiative, with the eventual goal of all 3,962 local governments throughout the state joining the transparency initiative, and the Dayton Public Schools joining the Ohio's online checkbook initiative would further improve and instill even greater confidence in Dayton Public Schools' already very strong financial, managerial, and operational controls, policies, and procedures, will strengthen the vision and image of DPS as a transparent and fiscally responsible school district, and do all this at no financial cost to the district. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, that the Board hereby announces that the Dayton Public Schools are joining the Ohio's online checkbook initiative and will start submitting its financial data by the end of each fiscal year. I move the resolution for vote. Your consideration, please.
Second.
Okay. It has been properly moved and second that we consider the resolution for the Dayton Public School District to join the Ohio Checkbook Initiative. Is there further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, let us, I believe we're ready to vote, Mr. Treasurer.
President Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Bagheera,
Yes.
Mr. Lacey,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Nerney,
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Mayfield Brown.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Bagheera, for your work.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Let us now turn to the superintendent's recommendation.
President Walker, members of the Board of Education, I have the following items to present to you this evening. General Fund recommendations. Item 1, recommend acceptance of the separations of employment for both regular and supplemental duties as listed. No. Item 2, recommend approval of the leave of absence actions as listed. Item 3, recommend appointments and changes to contracts for professional staff members as listed. Item 4, recommend appointments and changes to contracts for non-teaching personnel as listed. Item 5, recommend approval of the consultant contracts as listed. Item 6, recommend approval of the contracts and agreements as listed. Item 7, recommend approval of the resolution for membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Item 8, recommend approval of the 2015-2016 bell schedule. Item 9, recommend approval of the Dayton Building and Construction Trades Council Resolution for ratification of contract. Non-general fund recommendations. Item 10, recommend acceptance of the separations of employment for both regular and supplemental duties as listed. Item 11, recommend approval of the leave of absence actions as listed. Item 12, recommend appointments and changes to contracts for professional staff members as listed. Item 13, recommend appointments and changes to contracts for non-teaching personnel as listed. Item 14, recommend approval of the consultant contracts as listed. Item 15, recommend approval of the contracts and agreements as listed. That concludes my recommendations. Your consideration, please.
You've heard the recommendation from Superintendent Ward. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Lee. Is there further discussion on any of that?
I'll second it or I'll make the motion. You can put me on either one.
Okay, let
Okay.
Vice President Lee serve as the maker of the motion, and if you will serve as the
I second the motion.
We're ready for discussion. Hearing none, are we ready to vote? Mr. Treasurer?
President Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Bagheero,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Nerney,
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree, Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Mayfield Brown.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We've approved his recommendations. Let us now turn to the treasurer's recommendation.
President Walker, members of the board, I have the following items to present to you this evening. Item 16 recommends approval of the donations as listed. Carolyn Bomer, David H. Ponus Career Technology Center, football team, $75. Office Depot donated rebate, $6,454.80. Thomas Spence, David H. Ponitz Career Technology Center, football team, $50. Freddie Adelson, Stacy Adelson McGuire, Shelley Adelson Crow, Meadowdale Pre-K School, Pre-K-8 School Principals Fund, $400. Alpha Phi Omega, University of Dayton, $2,016. Maria Trimbaugh, David H. Ponitz Career Technology Center, football team, $20. Dr. and Mrs. Robert C. and Mary L. Walker, Belmont High School cheer team, $139. Greenwich Strategy LLC, $100. Belmont Business Association, Belmont High School cheer team, $100. Sandra Sindelbach, David H. Ponitz Career Technology Center, football team, $30. Item 17 recommends approval of the resolution for fiscal year 2015 amended certificate of estimated resources. Item 18 recommends approval of the resolution for the supplemental appropriation measure for fiscal year 2015. Item 19 recommends approval of the resolution to approve the 5-year financial forecast as of May 19, 2015, and that's the 2015 to 2019 5-year forecast. Item 20 recommends approval of the general fund and non-general fund purchase requests as listed. Approval of the minutes from February 17, 2015, March 17, 2015, March 25, 2015, March 28, 2015, April 7, 2015, April 14, 2015, April 16, 2015, April 17, 2015, and April 20th, 2015. That concludes my recommendations. Your consideration, please.
Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. It has been properly moved and second that we accept the recommendations by the treasurer. Is there a discussion on any of the items? Okay, Board Member Lacy?
Well, I'll defer to Board Member Lee.
Oh, I was just going to ask on recommendation 26, Office Depot donation rebate, since that's such a large dollar item, it doesn't designate how that money is going to be used, as well as the Alpha Phi Omega University of Dayton, a large item of $2,000, and I didn't know how that designation was going to be, and the use of those dollars.
If you recall, the donation from Office Depot was to the scholarship fund. They came, I believe, in March or April at the business meeting, and Alpha Phi Omega from University of Dayton presented at the same meeting. I don't believe Alpha Phi Omega designated something specific for their donation, but I can double check that. Office Depot did for scholarships.
And that's primarily what I was getting at, because I thought that was such a wonderful thing for Office Depot to do, to designate that money to the Student Senate Scholarship Fund. Am I correct, Superintendent? which I know Ms. Maybe Brown is sitting down there just grinning eye to eye again, because it makes her hard work for this year, which was such a challenge, even that much greater in the dollars that were rendered for the scholarship fund under the Student Senate. Thank you.
Board Member Lacy?
I just wanted to comment on the 5-year forecast. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer, for your 5-year forecast. A quick comment, if board members will look at the 5-year forecast, this is one of the healthiest 5-year forecasts I've seen in my 10 years on the board. We are in the black to the tune of $13 million up through the 5 years. Now, this is not, of course, a done deal. We do have to get through the Ohio Senate and Conference Committee, but and this is also, this takes into account, this is based upon the House version, so this takes into account caps that cap money we should have gotten in consideration of the fact that we are a very high poverty district. I mean, that kind of money we could have done something with to help implement this and so forth. So I mean, it's a healthy one. I still think I would like it to be better, and I just wanted to point that out. I also hope our bonding agency notices it, but I don't think that's probably not until like October or something like that. Correct me. Or probably October. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Board Member Lacy. Okay, Dr. Bagaroff?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
My question is still on page 29. I brought up that issue at the review session, the item number 4 regarding Apple computers. I see that the amount hasn't changed. Did they provide clarification?
Superintendent Ward,
Chief Lisa Minor has additional information.
Thank you. Superintendent Ward, Dr. Walker, Board President, and board members. I did hear from Principal Dooley regarding this purchase of the Mac computers, and I'm going to read to you her response of the need and why they were making that purchase. The amount of images needed for the AP Studio Art program and visual arts portfolios are extensive and require Creative Suite software, Photoshop, Lightroom, photography, and so forth. This year, more than 570 works were digitally submitted to College Board for AP Studio, and all were done on a staff member's personal laptop. We need 2 Macs that are made available to AP Studio Art students to manipulate their own work in the classroom.
That answers the question. Thank you very much.
Dr. Bagaroff, are you okay? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. With that, I believe we are ready to vote. Okay.
President Walker,
Yes?
Dr. Bagiroff,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Nerney,
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Mayfield Brown.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would it be possible if we switch places with Dr. Roundtree, since
Please.
she wanted me to follow up?
Let's turn to Dr. Roundtree.
Thank you very much, Dr. Walker. I have 2 items, the first of which has to do with my role as the Policy Committee Chair. We have 4 new policies for a first reading, so this is a resolution to adopt board policy. The rationale is as follows. Inasmuch as the Board of Education is committed to the continued updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, and the committee which was appointed has been working towards that goal, the following is brought to this time for the first reading in compliance with Board File BFC Policy Adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusion in the Handbook of Policies, Rules, and Regulations. The first policy is EBBA, the title, First Aid, and the change, a new policy. The second policy is policy FD, also KBE. It is regarding tax issues. And the change is revised to include language regarding sextennial reappraisal and triennial updates. The next policy is IGCH, also LEC, College Credit Plus. Language revised to be in accordance with legislation. The next policy is KBE, also FD, tax issues. The revisions include language regarding sextennial reappraisal and triennial updates. The final policy is LEC, also IGCH, College Credit Plus, language revised to be in accordance with legislation. These are policies being read for the first time. As such, a motion or second is not required. The policies will be available in the superintendent's office for review and comment prior to their second reading and adoption by the Board of Education. Furthermore, the policies will be reviewed by the superintendent's office, the board's office, and the legal department of the Dayton Public Schools prior to the second reading. That concludes my presentation of policies.
Thank you, Dr. Roundtree.
You're welcome. The second item is a statement that is presented by the Dayton Board of Education in response to the Ohio Department of Education review team. When the review team from the Ohio Department of Education reported its findings at a school board meeting on May 12th, the members of the Board of Education were prepared to listen attentively to their observations. The review team spent several days meeting with administrators, educators, parents, stakeholders, and board members to develop a report from a broad spectrum of contributors. In addition, they reviewed data from multiple sources, including internal and external documents, along with data from the state report card. The findings, while limited, were not startling. In response to the review team's report, we acknowledge the timely and insightful response from Superintendent Lori Ward in her commentary, Education Matters. The superintendent provided a myriad of observations that clearly documented our district's student achievement accomplishments. It is well known that students in our district are confronted with difficult circumstances and learning needs. Our student population is among the poorest, most racially and linguistically diverse in our state. Yet we strive to garner greater parental and community involvement, as well as reduce chronic absenteeism, especially in our young learners. But these are the realities of our students, and we embrace these situations, not as excuses, but as challenges that can be overcome with the right initiatives. We are adamant that teachers, parents, and the community must believe that students will learn if taught well in a district that supports the improvement of teaching in an ongoing and structured way. That being said, this Board of Education owns the problem. We know that all children can learn at high levels, regardless of their race, socioeconomic background, language, family situation, or other countless barriers that directly impact student achievement. We will not accept business as usual. Our approach to ensure that every student in this district achieves academic success is straightforward and intentional. In other words, we will relentlessly revisit our goals and establish new policies that are aligned with recommendations for rapid improvement. Next, we will demand accountability for reaching those goals and executing these policies. We will accomplish this objective by immediately executing a chain of accountability. We recognize the board must place a greater emphasis on developing policies that rapidly improve student achievement and spend less time on operation issues. As a board, we will establish more opportunities to connect with the community to learn their values and concerns. Additionally, we will find appropriate ways in which to connect with teachers and principals to obtain their input on policies which impact their administrative and instructional responsibilities. It is imperative that all our decisions are data-driven and aligned with our mission and vision. Lastly, the board will expand our support to ensure that extensive professional development occurs, including training for board members, administrators, and teachers. We will continue to support the superintendent's efforts, which focus on providing high-quality instruction in every classroom, in every building. The members of the Dayton Board of Education were elected to serve as a bridge between education professionals and the local community. Accordingly, all parental concerns will receive a fair review and a timely response. Moreover, we will remain committed to providing effective leadership, the basis of which is effectuating the aspirations of our students and parents. Finally, we will give clearer direction to our superintendent and staff, thus enabling them to manage the district in a way that rapidly improves student achievement. You can expect greater accountability and positive results from this Board of Education. That concludes my remarks, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Roundtree. I think that Dr. Bagaroff is going to follow up.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Roundtree asked me to follow up with some additional comments. You know, when when we had this distress commission visiting us from Columbus, what I was hoping is that when they produce this report, that we're going to see a certain action plan, that we're going to see something which will allow us to use their collective knowledge, knowledge of those experts coming in, and provide us a certain path to even greater and more rapid improvement. Perhaps something, show us something that we didn't know, something that we didn't factor in, something that we might have overlooked, that might share some best practices from other districts. Unfortunately, I didn't see any of that. Unfortunately, this report is one of many reports that have been produced over the past years, which simply aggregates some basic data, some anecdotes, some anonymous testimonials, puts it all together in a form of a report, and piggies back to us, but without any concrete path for improvement, without any concrete action plan, and without any concrete data to really back it up, to really show that, hey, you can do this, and that will improve your performance by this much, because guess what? Some other district did this, and it helped. Or, according to the latest research and studies, those who implement this, this, and that raise their academic performance index by this many percentage points. For example, we saw an example of that today with the ACT test. A company came in, they clearly know what they're doing, they showed us the way it's done. They measured before, after, they provided us with very tangible metrics based on deep research. So that was my expectation. Unfortunately, this report fell short of that. However, additionally, not only did it not provide a very clear and actionable plan for us, a blueprint to follow, but in addition to that, it also overlooked a lot of the positive achievements that this district has, and it overlooked a lot of the context, a lot of the background, which is very important to consider when we look at this district and compare it. Now, of course, at last Tuesday's session, several board members have pointed this out, specifically the poverty issue. Today, we also heard a presentation from the superintendent. Previously, the superintendent also shared a great email newsletter So in case those of you haven't seen, please look in your emails. It has a very short but to the point response with a positive track record and some very impressive achievements. For example, this school, did you know that this school became the very top in the nation in terms of their arts broadcasting? In fact, they're number 2 in the nation. I found that extremely impressive. I mean, we're competing now not with just schools in Ohio, but with schools nationwide. So that's extremely impressive. Unfortunately, I didn't see that in the report, and this would have provided very important context. In addition, we've identified some other things which this Board of Education and this administration have worked on in the past year. I only joined this Board of Education in January of 2014, so I can speak only to what has happened since then. And just a very quick list that we have come up with in our email exchange yesterday and today includes things like reducing suspensions and introducing restorative justice by double digits. We have started a campaign to increase professional development among teachers, and by using more efficiently various technology tools like PD 360 and measuring that outcome, how much that has been used and tracking that progress, which is very important, something we never did before. We do have greater usage of technology. We now have hundreds of iPad and Chromebooks devices that our teachers and some of the school children have been using, which is very important. In fact, I would like to salute our technology team led by Dr. Melson, who is with us here, because unlike so many other districts in Ohio, we didn't have any problems during the PARCC testing. We did not have any meltdown of our internet system, of our servers, of our computers. There were no major problems. And in fact, everybody, as far as I know, was calling Dr. Melson and getting his advice on how to get things done. So this is something that we haven't read in the report yet. This is essential. This is really important, because if you remember when the testing was going on, if you were to read any newspaper, there was a lot of attention from the media on this subject, yet we didn't receive any accolades for something like that, and no comparison to other districts which have far more resources than us and yet perform so much worse in this aspect. There are additional things, like today we have approved the more efficient bell schedule for next academic year, and we completed a route study for the transportation, which should hopefully yield some great results in the years ahead. We have started to improve customer service in the headquarters, so it's going to be easier and better for parents to register their students to attend DPS. In addition to that, we've done great strides by reducing administrative expenses. We have significantly reduced those expenses in just 1 year. Furthermore, we were able to improve the average appearance, on-the-job appearance of substitute teachers. As you know, it used to be quite low, and it was tracked over a 5-year period. It averaged about 85%. We have raised that to above 90%, and we're obviously not stopping at that. We're not satisfied until we raise it all the way. Furthermore, we have a higher percentage of certified teachers now than we ever had before. We have a growing number of reading endorsed teachers, which is also very important, especially considering the 3rd grade guarantee. We have done bond refinancing and therefore saving some money there. And we have switched to new electric and gas providers, which has further reduced our operating expenses. All of this is having an effect. Unfortunately, all of this takes years to really notice, but it's very disappointing when someone comes and writes a report and doesn't take any of this into account, and furthermore, doesn't even provide you a clear path, a clear action plan on how to improve. So I find this deficiency of the report quite striking, and I hope that if we're being watched in Columbus, that they'll take that into consideration, and perhaps other school districts school districts that will get those visits will be more lucky than us and will get the benefit of this collective genius of experts coming in to improve those districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bagara. Are there any additional remarks relative to the assessment by the Ohio Department of Education Stress Commission? Board Member Lacy?
Already on, okay. Yeah, I want to echo Dr. Bagarov's remarks, and I do want to, but I also want to tell the superintendent that I do appreciate her response. I do believe that implementation with fidelity, which could be the title of this report, really is the best answer that we can have, and it's really I think it's about all they were asking the state. To make the really big differences, though, and the board, I think, in the future and in the coming year, we'll be looking at this to make really big differences in the performance of a district with the type with the level of poverty that we have. I think you need a significant investment, the type of investment that we read about that I believe Cincinnati was an additional $25 million from the community invested into their school system. These are the kinds of things that do make a real difference. A significant investment into programs over and above what we're doing right now. Those are the kinds of things that we need to make a really big difference, and I hope we can get to that. But until then, I think we are on the right path, and I appreciate the superintendent's response. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member.
I just want to make one other concluding remark. One of the things that I want to really underscore is the professional development, not only of our teachers and principals, but of our school board members. Earlier, the superintendent asked us, just informally, who can regurgitate the mission and vision? Who knows the rules? Who knows the goals and objectives? And all of us, including myself, struggled with that. I think the same principle ought to be applied to the school report card. We are judged many ways, but in the final analysis, it's the school report card. So one of the things that I'd like to do is to follow up with the state and to become an expert on the school report card. Because if we were to take a test right now, I don't know how many of us, including myself, would pass. And because how can we move this school district if we don't clearly and thoroughly understand the way in which we're going to be judged? Many schools are criticized with the expression, oh, they teach to the test. Many schools receive that criticism, but they receive incredibly high scores. Now, if our goal is to move this district out of the danger zone, if our goal is to increase our letter grade, we cannot, I don't care what you say, we cannot change that fact right now. It might change in our future, but it's not going to be changed today. So if that's how we're going to be judged, then we need to garner that report card with fidelity. And we need to pick some low-hanging fruit. In other words, we need each and every one of us needs to be experts on how to increase that letter grade, because that is how we're judged. That's the bottom line. So I want to think from a district perspective, not from an individual board member, but from a school board as a whole. And that's one of the issues that I would certainly like to pursue, is working more closely with the state. Regardless of what they didn't report, we could have been more proactive and given them these highlights before they even came here. We could have been more proactive, and it's not too late for us to do that. But the bottom line still remains the same. We are going to be judged. And if we are, and since we are, we should be more proactive in that sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Lee, Vice President Lee, I'm sorry.
Yes, and continuing that conversation in that vein, not only being judged by the report card as it stands now, we're going to be judged until they figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to make the changes that they're not even sure of yet. So there again, we're almost at the same place we were but the board realizes that we, as a board, have to work more with fidelity with the superintendent and the treasurer, and that figuring out how, regardless of the report card, as it is stated now, or however it comes out later, that we can move the needle forward, and that's going to be our objective, to totally move this district forward, not only by letter grade, but by the fact that our children are going to learn. And also, we're at new business, correct? Yeah. Oh, also, I would be remiss if I didn't tell Ms. Minor, go miss you. Didn't want to vote to get rid for you to go, but I can't stop you and make you stay because I realize what your objectives are and what your initial goal is to be able to one day arise to that level of superintendency, your doctorate in the superintendency. Hate to see you go, but gonna love you and kiss you anyhow.
Thank you. Board Member Nerney?
To make a long story short, I do appreciate the superintendent's response, and I look forward to implementing policies and evaluations that will help monitor that strategy. As another side remark, I attended the college and career signing event, and I was absolutely thrilled. These were seniors from our district, just like other districts had it, and those seniors came forward at the auditorium in Sinclair and proudly announced that they had gotten a scholarship or were intending to go to a particular college, and that in turn got them much applause from their family, friends, and fellow students in the audience. And then they signed a big giant poster which indicated that they were going proudly ahead. And we all gave them the best support we could, and we wish them the best of luck in their future. But it was a very proud moment because that's what the end of the line looks like. That's what we hope for these young people, that they go on to a college and have success, and then finally become successful citizens back in our community. So that was a very moving event, and I'm sorry a lot of you weren't there to see it, but it might be on television. I do not know. Is it? Oh, good. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Taylor?
Yes, thank you. When I look at the report from the Ohio Department of Education, the majority of what's in there are statements or information that they gathered from people who work within our district. That's where they get their information from. It's not something that they just went out and created on their own. So a lot of the things that we see in there, I think, reflect a lot of the attitude and the feelings that a lot of our employees have towards the district. The grades, they're fact. You know, that's what the students do. But I mean, they interviewed teachers. They interviewed people from different departments. And so I think that when we look at this study, one of the things that we need to do is to keep in mind they gathered that information from us, from this district. One of the things that stands out for me in this study, it talks about communication in terms of budgeting in different areas, from my understanding, with the principals, to bring the principals in and have them be a part of the decision-making in Dayton Public Schools. To have them sit down and actually be a part of creating the budget. Another thing that I get from this study is the lack of communication that actually happens between different various areas of the district with the administration and with the board. To make major changes in this district, the only way that's going to happen is for those communications to start happening, to have open dialogue with everyone within the district, to respect them when they come to these meetings and express their concern. to be prompt about returning phone calls to parents, to other stakeholders, and to our employees. So I really hope that this board and the administration backs me up on some of the ideas that I have in terms of setting down and meeting with people so that we can have open dialogue, so that we can solve together some of the issues that we face. I think it's wonderful to sit down with the teachers. I think it's wonderful to sit down with the principals. I think we should sit down and talk maybe to the paras and find out what's difficult for them. I think that we should sit down and talk with transportation and custodians and our clericals. I think that the board needs to have a clearer idea of what the feelings and the attitude in the district are. And the only way to do that is open communication and to respect each other when they speak. And so that kind of concludes my feelings on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Taylor. Let us turn to Ms. Allison Mayfield Brown. Well,
thank you, Dr. Walker.
And I'm glad that we all are here because we want to celebrate that.
Thank you. Okay, well, in the new things as far as school goes, as far as tomorrow at 5 o'clock at World of Wonder, the Dayton Public Schools Unified Band will be hosting its last performance. And of course, everybody is granted with invitation, and this is open to the public. As well as the superintendent's Student Scholars Recognition Ceremony was held May 5th, where over 800 scholars were recognized. And I extend my most sincere congratulations to them, as well as the 900 that I predict will be present next year. So, as she did mention, and Dr. Walker as well, this is my last meeting before my graduation Sunday. That is excitement. But I would like to say thank you, a sincere thank you to the board for welcoming me as you have. I do remember my very first meeting, and at that time I did not see my last, but at this time I do, and I'm truly thankful for all that you've done. And to Ms. Colling and Superintendent Ward, my thank you goes to you as well. I have never, I am a product of Dayton Public Schools. I've been in the school district since I was in preschool. I started off at Cornell Heights, went up to Rosa Parks, and now at Meadowdale High School. And through all of the superintendents, I have never seen somebody so extroverted with vibrancy, facing adversity in the face of all things, and felicitous, just to compose yourself and handle it in the manner of elegance of which you did. And I am truly appreciative for everything that you've done in your work within this district and for myself. So as far as graduation goes, I do have graduation dates in front of me, which are listed on the Dayton Public Schools website, but I will also name them off here. So on May 23rd, Thurgood Marshall High School will be graduating at Thurgood Marshall at 9 o'clock a.m. May 23rd, Stiver School for the Arts will be graduating at the Masonic Temple at 11 o'clock a.m. Also on May 23rd, Ponus Career Technology Center will be graduating at the Masonic Temple at 2 o'clock p.m. May 23rd, Belmont High School will be graduating at Belmont at 4 o'clock p.m. May 24th, Dunbar Early College High School will be graduating at Harrah Arena at 1 o'clock p.m. May 24th, Meadowdale High School will be graduating at Meadowdale at 3 o'clock p.m. May 26th, DECA will be graduating at Sinclair at 6 o'clock p.m. And on May 27th, Dayton Business Technology High School will be graduating at the Convention Center at 6 o'clock p.m. Once again, thank you to the board, to Ms. Colling, and to everyone in attendance. You've truly made my senior year very memorable.
And what does next year hold for you?
Next year, well, actually this coming fall, we'll be attending The Ohio State University with a major in journalism and a minor in communications.
Thank you. I'm going to ask my fellow board members to stand with me we want to acknowledge your leadership with us and in the tremendous grace that you have presented yourself with this board, but also in other activities throughout the district. So if you would come and stand with us as we share this certificate. Yeah, I'm good. It's a certificate of recognition presented to Allison Mayfield Bradley, Meadowdale High School Superintendent Student Senate, 2014 through 15. This 19th day of May, 2015, for exhibiting outstanding leadership skills and representing the student body of your school as a member of the Superintendent's Student Senate. Allison, your participation during the 2014-15 school year and your service as a Dayton Board of Education ex officio member is exemplary and a shining example for your peers to emulate. Congratulations. Congratulations is extended to you on behalf of the staff, students, and parents of the Dayton Public Schools and the members of the Dayton Board of Education, Dayton Public Schools, Superintendent Lori Ward, and Robert C. Walker, President of the Dayton Board of Education. Thank you for being such a model, not only for the students in the district, but for we who are older but serve this district as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to be watching TV. I'm going to turn my TV on and wait for 4 years till I see you. Because I know you'll be there.
Thanks again for all that you've done. With that, we'll turn to Superintendent Ward.
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you to the staff. This is our last meeting before the end of the school year. Our last day for students will be June the 4th. We are extended because of the 3 days that we have to make up. So to all the principals who lead the instructional buildings and all the teachers, support staff, nurses, psychologists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, librarians, custodians, bus drivers, nutrition services. You know, this is a great district, and I make the commitment to Mr. Morrow, who's standing in the back, and Mr. Tackett, we're going to fix transportation. I think that the community deserves to see us collaborating and getting this work done. And when we have issues, then that actually inhibits us from doing the good work that we know we can do. So I really want to say that. To Allison, as the, President of the Student Senate, Allison's responsibilities are large, but so is her schedule of balancing school and her extracurricular and work activities. But I tell you what, she will go down in history for her convocation message. And that's one of those that when you get down and out, you might want to just go on the website and pull the video up and just listen to that motivation that she gave us in that charge. So thank you very much. Much success, and see you on Sunday, as we like to say around here. To Lisa Minor, you will sincerely be missed. You know, this is a bittersweet type of a meeting when you have a great administrator who, and by the way, that's what we breed. We breed great people in this district, because we've almost become the recruiting ground for everybody around us. Lisa Minor will be joining the district at Trotwood-Madison, and but she'll be close and not far. But we wish her much success. And as people tell you when you go off to college, don't forget where you came from. All right. So I just thought I'd add that in. Also, I want to say thank you to the Dayton Board of Education. I sit on this stage with really 8 people in the treasurer too, and to Treasurer Jones, with the shared vision that we can do a better job. Mm-hmm. And many times that throws us into a healthy debate. But I want to say thank you very much for the support that the board has given me, and also the support for even approving Dr. Gregory Roberson, who's sitting on the second row, who's decided to join us from Mount Healthy District, and he will be the chief in the Office for Exceptional Children. This is very crucial. We